It's been almost a year since deadly floods killed more than 130 people in the Hill Country region of central Texas. The tragic flooding at Camp Mystic in Kerrville killed 25 campers, 2 counselors, and the camp's executive director. That 4th of July tragedy would be Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskan's first ever mission. He says he was the only member of his Coast Guard crew on the ground during the flooding. For 3 hours, Ruskan, who was 26 at the time, set up triage zones and comforted campers. He and his colleagues saved 165 lives, and a week later, he recalled a moment that stuck with him.
There's one little girl, I don't remember her name, but she was asking me if she could bring her stuffed animal, if there was space in the helicopter, and the obvious answer was yes.
Petty Officer Second Class Scott Ruskan joins us now. He's an aviation survival technician and helicopter rescue swimmer for the United States Coast Guard. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for having me on. I really appreciate your time today.
What was the hardest part of that day, knowing that you were the only member of your crew on the ground, and how did you know what to do?
Yeah, I think going back to that day, the most important thing was my crew was able to get me there safely, right? I know we're giving myself a lot of the credit. That was some of the most treacherous and dangerous flying we probably could have done that day. So being the rescuer on the ground, that's my role, right? That's my job. That's the, job of rescue swimmers, to kind of be on the ground and doing the hands-on work. But again, I really couldn't have gotten there to be able to do my job if it wasn't for Ian, Blair, and Seth kind of flying and navigating the helicopter that day. And I think I've spoken with a lot of the other crews who were working that day, from the Texas National Guard, as well as the Task Force 1 rescue swimmer crews. And they said the same thing. There's other rescue swimmers for the state of Texas at other campsites and other locations, and we couldn't have gotten in there without some of the best pilots in the world. So really, just all the credit to those guys. Couldn't have done the job if it wasn't for them.
Has that day stuck with you?
Oh yeah, of course, ma'am. Yeah, definitely. Life-changing day, right? For so many people that day. It was my first rescue case, so that definitely kind of stands out. So I think any rescue swimmer, your first rescue definitely stands out the most. This one's no different, and this one just ended up being a little bit bigger than I expected. But we talk about it a lot of times in the Coast Guard. Our best day is also someone's worst day, right? I mean, we train day and night for these kind of missions and these operations, but we also just have to remember too, this was a lot of people's worst day of their life. Some of them their last day of their life. So just kind of taking those hand in hand and just knowing that we were glad we were able to help a lot of people out that day.
Have you been able to keep in touch with any of the families?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So super weird situations, right? I mean, it's not something you would think of as a rescuer, right? A lot of times they're just people. You're there to pick them up. You're there to drop them off and make sure they get back to their families. So it's been super heartwarming to kind of reunite with a couple of them. Obviously, I met Millie at the State of the Union. I talked to a couple girls on the phone, Callie, Cindy, Nicole, a few of them just to name that I remember off the top of my head. But we've been able to, myself as well as other members of the crew, have all been able to kind of talk with a few of the girls, which has been a once in a lifetime opportunity to talk to them again. And hopefully and I have talked to them. A lot of them are doing well. A lot of them back in school, playing sports, just doing normal things that kids are doing. So it's good to hear.
And you are being honored on July 15th at ESPN's ESPYs with the Pat Tillman Award for Service, named, of course, after the former NFL player, U.S. Army Ranger, Sun Devil, who died in Afghanistan in 2004. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a huge honor. I know a few members and share members of the foundation reached out and they asked me if I'd ever heard of Pat's story before. Growing up in the early 2000s and being like a all-American town where I'm from, everyone's super patriotic. I've heard about him since I was a kid. Was no shock to me his bravery. There's a lot of brave Americans out there, which is really awesome. And to be in the same category or to even be considered to be in the same category as him is something I've never imagined. I still don't think so. I think the most common thing we have is we played sport in college. That's probably about it. But it's a huge honor. It's a huge privilege to be recognized by ESPN through the ESPYs and as well as through the Pat Tillman's Foundation. Just a huge honor. I don't think it's fully set in yet, honestly.
Well, I don't think that that's the only thing you two have in common. But Petty Officer Second Class Scott Ruskan and hero, thank you.
Thank you guys for your time, and have a good one.